Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Gimba Umar, and this is Osun 2018 Governorship Election Studios opening tonight live here on Channels Television's headquarters in Lagos. From here, we will bring you happenings and an extensive coverage of the governorship elections holding across Osun State tomorrow. And on ground in Osun State, we have our political reporters. Seun Okinbaloye is there with Chris Illems and Lanre Lasisi as well. All together, we will bring you factual stories and other happenings throughout the governorship elections. It's the big day tomorrow, and all the contestants seem set for the contest, and ready as well are the observers, both foreign and local. Again, this is 2018 Osun Governorship Election Studios opening right now. Let's quickly go to Ekiti State. I'm sorry, that would be Osun State. Of course, we just went through Ekiti State, but Osun State is in the heart of the matters now. Seun Okinbaloye is the lead political correspondent there. Let's get an insight from you. Seun, how well are we doing at this time before we get the program on the way? Okay, we'll get back to you, Seun, but we have some seasoned analysts who will be discussing this with us, and we'll be focusing first on the security of the elections in Osun State. We understand that we have about 17,000 policemen who are on ground for tomorrow's exercise. We also have 8 commissioners of police, 1 AIG, and 1 DIG as well. Of course, this is a heavy deployment aside from the team from the FRSC, the NSCDC, and of course the DSS as well. Let's start off with understanding some of those important salient points that we have that will be coming through in the course of this. But let's begin in our Abuja studios where our guests are standing by. Mr. Ejiofor is with us in our Abuja studios. So also is the police PPRO, Jimoh Moshood, who is also with us in our Abuja studios. I want to thank you both for coming on the show at this time. Let me begin with you, Mr. Jimoh. This very, very indeed heavy police deployment that we're seeing arriving in Osun State at this time. Tell us, why do we have that massive deployment of police to man the Osun elections?
Thank you so much, and good evening, Nigerians, for giving us the opportunity to be able to express to Nigeria across the Federation what we are doing to ensure adequate security for the gubernatorial elections in the Osun State that will be coming up tomorrow. Before now, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Putu Idris, MNI, has directed the implementation of a robust security arrangement for this election. And he has put in the Deputy Inspector General of Police operation to supervise the security architecture and the deployment for the election tomorrow. The over 17,000 you talk about is, to be precise, we have over 18,000 that will be manning the 3,764 polling units, voting point that you have in Osun State. There's more numbers outside the 18,000, which are going to be involved because we are deploying 300 patrol vehicles. They are going to man these 300 patrol vehicles, and equally the air crew of the 2 police helicopters, and we have about 30, precisely 30 APC, that's Armored Personnel Carrier, and 10 more personnel vehicles. Equally, these are going to be manned by police personnel. So the number is far, far more than the 18,000, but the 18,000 are those police personnel that will not be bearing arms. We are going to have about 4 in each of the polling units, and if you multiply 4 by around 4,000 polling units of voting points, you are going to have around 16,000. You have the rack center and the super rack, which are equally to be manned by this personnel. So we have carried out in earnest security assessment of the entire Osun State. Osun State has 30 local government area. We carry out security threat assessment in all of these 30 local government areas of Osun State. And we have addressed all of the identified and all the perceived threats that may cause issues during the elections. We equally have 332 wards, which are equally being manned, and we have 8 commissioner of police, like you have said during the opening. Each commissioner of police will be manning each of the 8 area commands in Osun State. This to ensure that the deployment is thorough and to ensure that the police personnel behave in conformity with the operation order. Before now, we've carried out adequate training of our personnel and to let them know what is expected of them. And we also have this time around been proactive to ensure the deployment of the intelligence department of the force and the IGP monitoring unit, the intelligence response team also, to gather intelligence ahead of time about the issue of vote buying, because vote buying and selling is an offense as prescribed in the Electoral Act Section 214, which states that any corrupt tendency or the use of inducement for voter either to vote or not to vote during an election is an offense. So they are gathering intelligence of those who are preparing or those who may likely engage in the act, because even attempt to do so is an offense. So we've equally deployed to the corridors that we call the areas that people will be able to have safety from their homes and wherever they are living to move to the election center. There's no doubt going to be part of this huge deployment will cover the area of enforcement of the restriction of vehicular movement into Osun State. There's going to be restriction from 12 midnight on Friday to the end of the election. And it is important for people to note that the highway leading from Ibadan to Akure, which almost divide Osun into two, there's going to be restriction of movement there, except those on essential duty that are recognized by the position of the law. So by and large, we are fully prepared and we are good to go. In addition to this is that the Deputy Inspector General of Police on the ground has carried out what we call the show of force exercise yesterday, and he has carried out equally today.
My apologies if I may just come through here, just so we can have a back and forth conversation. When you said that you have identified perceived threats, what exactly are the threats that you've perceived such that you want to, should I say, you have already deployed about 18,000 police officers, we understand. What are the threats that you have identified?
If you are getting me clearly, those 18,000, as I said, are those that are going to be unarmed, the unarmed police personnel. For each polling unit, you have 4 unarmed police personnel, then 2 for other security agency. But those that are dealing with issue of threat that may come up are those that are armed, that are going to be mounting the 300 patrol vehicles that we are going to deploy for the election. But if you want me to go specific into the trend that I identify, I don't think it's going to be of help to us as security, the lead agency in internal security, and the lead agency in this election to start discussing this threat on television. But those notable issues, such as ballot box snatching, the issue of thuggery, and the issue of people who are preparing to use violence during the elections are being dealt with. This to enable us to have a firm grip of the entire situation and to be able to improve the confidence of the people to be able to come out freely and cast their vote. We have done this. There are quite a number of our police personnel that are currently going to be on covert operation. They'll be mixing up with the crowd. And our deployment equally take account of the need to ensure crowd control. And that is why the Inspector General of Police have graciously approved the deployment of the sniffer dog section of the force and the mounted troop to ensure adequate control of the crowd where the need arises. Our preparation were in 3 stages: the pre-election period, the election proper, and the post-election. Because you may not likely have issues during the casting of votes. It might be when the results are coming in and people felt maybe they are losing or they are winning. So we equally prepare adequately for this. So I wouldn't want to say beyond this, as it has to do with all this threat analysis that we have carried out, and like I said earlier on, we have addressed them.
You mentioned the issue of vote buying, which seems to be a perennial concern for a lot of people coming from the elections that we saw in Ekiti State, and now we're looking at Osun State. Hopefully, that will be discouraged to the fullest of it. But what is the role of the police? What exactly are you doing to assist INEC, for instance, in the one hand, to try to see that this issue of vote buying doesn't happen in Osun State?
Thank you so much. We have met before now with INEC and the other security and safety agency that will be complementing the police effort in ensuring adequate security for this election. Mind you, we have on ground before now what we call the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. And for every state of the Federation, the Commissioner of Police in that state is the chairman of the committee, while the INEC is the co-chairman. So this is to bring input from the state level, because that's what we've been doing nowadays, which is an improvement on what used to happen in the yesteryear. Because before, there used to be directive on operation matters from the headquarters down the line to the command level. There's still directive, no doubt, from first quarter, but on the issue of this election, we allow states to make input on the peculiarity of the problem that have been witnessed or that are perceived to likely to occur during elections. So the ICCIS in Osun State is vibrant. The Commissioner of Police is in charge, and they have met, and they come up with submission on all the area that the first quarter need to assist them. And this area, like I said, have been addressed. The ICCIS equally give us the opportunity to be able to bring all the other security and safety agencies on board, including the NYSC, because the NYSC are going to provide the bulk of the staff. If you look at the number, the strength of the staff of INEC, as said by the REC, is over 16,000 personnel that will be deployed. Then if you have 18,000 unarmed, and you have much more than that are going to ensure adequate security on the street, because you can't say, because the election is going on, you are going to allow crime or criminality to happen. To prevent criminals and other suspects from taking laws into their hand and police medium, we have done adequate deployment around throughout the length and breadth of Osun State. The Inspector General of Police have equally directed all Commissioner of Police in the contiguous state to Osun State, such as Ekiti, Ondo, Ogun, Oyo, and Kwara, to put all their personnel on red alert, including the Commissioner of Police in those commands, so that we don't allow miscreants and unwanted individuals or group to infiltrate into us to disrupt the election. So we have put this in place, and we are working with INEC to stamp out the means of vote buying. And we are equally give out call numbers that people can call us if you notice anybody preparing.
Okay, if I may just come in here again, Jimoh Moshood, the police public relations officer, also DIG as well. But